Dr. Jennifer Zhu here. I just wanted to share that I came across this article. It's written, it was published on Sunday of May 19, 2024, so it's just a couple months ago. And the title from CNN Health is Slouching Isn't Bad for Your Spine, but May Impact Your Memory. I thought that was kind of an interesting topic, and so what I wanted to do was, I have my opinions about it, but I'm going to save that till after I give you an overview and read you a couple of pieces off of this article. But I thought it was really interesting that we've known for many years, almost a decade now, that our posture positioning actually affects other things outside of pain. So this is kind of interesting to come across just in the recent months of the same year. But one of the things that it says is that, for one thing, this article says that there's been a plethora of rigorous clinical studies conducted which have concluded that there's no relationship between slouching and spinal pain. There's also no evidence that people who slouch are more likely to suffer with back or neck pain compared to non-slouchers. Interesting. Another thing that it says is there's no clear evidence that slouching while sitting at your desk or while using your phone causes damage to the spine. Even the UK government's latest guidance on working with screens puts less emphasis on an idealized posture at the workstation. Instead, they emphasize the importance of adopting comfortable positions, varying your positions, avoiding awkward positions such as flexing or arching your back or neck, and including regular breaks from your static posture throughout the day. All of these will help reduce the risk of developing pain as muscle fatigue. It also says that if you experience back or neck pain, you are most likely related more to other features of life, such as how stressed or physically active you are, and if you have previously had back pain. I'm just scrolling here to give you highlights. It says there's one area where slouching may have a negative effect. Slouching has been linked to poorer information and memory recall, as well as worse mood when compared to sitting upright. So basically what's kind of and then it also says at the very end that the evidence overwhelmingly suggests that there's no single ideal or good posture. And that differences in spinal posture are not related to pain, and in fact, posture naturally varies from person to person and can vary depending on race, sex, and even mood. So yeah, I will say that I thought that this was a really good entry point to understand that posture has a correlation to not just something like pain, but to function as well. And that makes sense because our posture is a window to our spine, and our spine's major function is to keep us upright and to protect our nervous system. And the nerves that come out from our spine, 90% of those nerves go to function, and only 10% go to sensory, meaning 10% of that compromise might go to pain, might not, but a lot of it will affect our overall function in other areas that we may not necessarily feel. The one caveat that I must say in my criticism of this article is that it says that slouching isn't bad for your spine. I feel like that's almost impossible because slouching is a reflection of your spine. They are not two separate things, right? Another thing is that it even says to avoid awkward positions like flexing and arching your neck and back to reduce pain. And I don't know about you, but flexing and arching your back is slouching, is it not? So So the idea that, there's a point where he says our spines aren't going to be damaged by a bit of sitting down, even if we happen to be wiggling our fingers on a keyboard at the same time, which I think is true, but also kind of misses the point in a lot of this information, in that we actually do know that posture has an effect on our body, on our spine, and our spine has an effect on our posture, meaning that if we already have an existing problem, which this kind of points out as well, if you already have an existing problem in your spine, then that's probably going to contribute to poorer posture and increased incidence of slouching, right? But again, that might be something that is outside of what you feel or what you may notice on a regular basis in terms of like contributing to pain. And so I think the author kind of simplifies things with, oh, that means that a little bit of slouching is not going to hurt you. True, but for the majority of people, a slouched or compromised position, a lot of like the average computer software engineer or a person that I see, they'll tell me things like they sit for like 8 hours at a time, and they've been doing that for the past 10 years, So that is going to impact things over time. Now, what my conclusion is, and what based off of my knowledge and my understanding and some research, is maybe what they're talking about, to give them credit, is more things like in terms of pathology. So slouching is not going to impact your spine, as in it's not going to cause a fracture or anything like that. But over time, we do need to do what, like he says in there, which is change our positions. We need to avoid sedentary positions for long periods, because that will eventually lead to an incidence of low back pain, even though that's not, what they emphasize here. So to me, my interpretation of this is actually that our spine equals our posture. Our posture is indicative of the condition of our spine right now, and even if we do not have pain, it's something that's worth being considerate of. And we should have a hygiene routine for our spine like we do for our teeth, in order to keep that in good working order, so that we can function better, so that our recall and our memory is improved and our mood is better. So basically, that slouching is not great for your spine and can be linked to memory issues rather than one, not the other. This also is a nice way, at least in my interpretation, to let people know that posture can affect other areas of our life that can impact our quality of life. And so again, it's something that we can actually get ahead of before we have things like pain or debilitation or affecting our memory or affecting our mood. And so it at least is a good, also like I said, a good entry point, a good thought provoking piece to let us, I guess, consider preventative measures towards our spine and our health. And I think that it's worth investing in our spine postural positioning in order to positively impact our health. And I think about, in terms of investing in your health, very much like any other investment, in that with chiropractic, it's your return on investment is a lot higher than other areas for health purposes, and this is a great example of why. So yeah, I hope that that is something that I found it interesting. I found it kind of positive and inspiring, and it helps me emphasize to patients and, reminds myself about how important posture is and what we can do about it, and why we do what we do. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that, and I guess I will talk to you another time.